this video, I'm going to be moving this outlet up to here. First things first, let's take this outlet cover off. Next thing, take a tester, test and make sure that it is off. Ahead of time, I plugged in a shop vac, turned it on, went to the panel, and kept flipping breakers until I knew that it was off. Next, we want to take the plug out. Always want to grab the top and bottom. Never want to grab like this because your hands would then connect the white and the black wires, and you would feel that. I already measured where I want it to go up here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to level this. I have a stud right here, so I want to go on this side of it. I'm going to level that box. Okay. Next, take your drywall saw, cut it out. In construction, you'll almost always find something that somebody else didn't do right or just cobbed together. There's a flat stud back here on the other side of this wall. Apparently they used just a flat stud this way, two next to each other, to frame the other side. So it stops this from going in just on this right side about 1/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this paddle bit, speed bit, and I'm just going to keep drilling it out just a little bit just to give me some enough room to get the box in there. Alright, now it fits perfect. Also, if you're not familiar with electricity or dealing with any wiring, it'd be best for you to contact a professional to do this rather than do it yourself. Another thing I'm going to be doing, not only moving this plug up, I'm also putting in an under cabinet light for the wall cabinet. So I have that mark over here, and I'm going to do the same thing I did for the double plug as the single box for the switch. That'll fit right in there. Since there's a cabinet going here, and I have a stud right here, and I need to get a wire over to here to go up to this box, I'm going to cut a square hole right here to be able to feed that wire up. Typically, if I were to do this and I didn't have anything going here, I would not jump over to another stud because you wouldn't be able to do it very neatly. There's ways that you can do it, but you wouldn't be able to do it in any timely fashion, at least. So I'm going to cut this out here so that I can feed it over and around and then up to this box, and that's how I'm going to do it, and the cabinet's just going to cover this anyways. So I'm going to save this in case I want to put that back on there. To be able to jump this wire over and then still put that piece on here, which I'd like to do instead of leaving a hole, it really doesn't matter, but I would just like to do that. I'm going to use my multi-cutting tool to just cut a little channel that I can feed it through so I can still put the sheetrock back on. Now for running the wire. You should use 12-2 when running a plug. I know this is white, typically 14-2 is white. I took this out of another house and it is still in great shape. I always try to save any large chunks of wire so that I can reuse them in little situations like this. So I'm gonna feed that down there. Do that. And then I gotta get it into that box, which I can see the top of the box. I need a longer screwdriver. Also, what I'm going to do is remove this plug here. Even though we know it's off, just to be safe, I'm still going to wire nut it. Never hurts. Alright, let's get those out of the way. See into this box now. Alright. That's in there now. So now it goes from there up to there. Feed it through there. Should be able to put this back on. Do that, I'll put a couple screws in that. So now it's time to wire it up. Okay, so we're gonna wire this plug up right here. Actually not a plug. I'm not gonna put a plug back in here because I don't really need it in the drawer. Take that out because that's gonna fall. So I wanna have a decent pair of wire strippers. Now we're going to wire this up here. This isn't going to be a plug anymore. I'm just going to put I'm going to make the connection and I'm going to put a blank cover over this when I put the cabinet in. I'm going to leave the cover off for now. So it's still accessible inside the cabinet, but there's no need for there to be a plug there. I want to have a decent pair of wire strippers. Never a bad idea to double check. Make sure they are all off. I like to use my lineman's pliers. Easier if they're all straightened out. I like to kind of keep twisting so that it kind of holds all the wires together. Kind of looks a lot nicer and neater to me. And then put a wire nut on it. You're going to need a pretty large wire nut if you're putting together 3 wires, especially 12-2. And do the same thing for the white. Now for the copper wire, what I use is this tiny little copper sleeve. Just slide it through both of them around there, and then you just crimp it down. You could just twist them together really good and call it a day, or this is a little safer. I also am going to twist them together. Kind of bend it up in there. Then it's time to put these in the box. Try to fit that in there without pushing the box through the drywall. With 12-2, it's definitely a little more challenging. Wires are a lot stiffer. Alright, so we have that connection done. Alright, we have that box situated down there, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. So, This is going to be a double plug. This is going to be a switch. And then there's going to be under cabinet light up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hole in this general area for the wire to come up from there to this switch. I decided not to just do a random hole. I'm going to do it in the center of this, just because that'd be best for the under cabinet light. This is, of course, above where the bottom of the cabinet's going to be down in here, so that I can always run a little channel if I need to down to where it's going to be. Now for the light, from the light to the switch, that only has to be 14 2 wire. That's what I'm going to use here. Have a little extra. That. Alright, this is of course way too long, so I'm going to cut that off as well. Might even be long enough to go box to box. It is. Alright, now should be able to put these boxes in. Now slide them on. Then tighten them. They're those little wings. These are old construction boxes. Alright, now those boxes are secured. This kind of a little more wire that way. Not as long as I'd like it, but it'll work. So there's your wire on each side. This is power coming in. This is going over to this. This goes to the light. And that's how you run the wires. Alright, now for wiring this plug here. Well, not plug. This is going to be a dimmer switch. So you have power coming in, this bottom wire. This top wire is what goes up here to the under cabinet light that's up above. So the two white wires you just join together and tuck that back in the box. That's all that needs to be done there. The two copper wires, I'm going to put a copper sleeve on there. I'm going to clamp that down. Do like a twist or two, and I'm going to tuck one in the box because that's kind of all that's needed there. And then I have this, which is the dimmer that's going to be used. So these are pretty decent dimmers right at Home Depot. So yeah, I'm going to take the hot wire. Actually, that's a little long. I'm going to cut a little of that off of these. Take the hot wire, connect to the black. Believe that it doesn't really have to be done this way. You could connect the other wire to that as well. The red wire. The red and white wire is for if this was a three-way switch. But this is not. This is the only switch to this. And then the green is ground. I'll connect that. And that is wired. So carefully try to get these in the box. Make sure they're not touching each other. I guess this is kind of a small box for all of this and this dimmer. It does look like it will fit. Just needs to be crunched a little bit more, but now that's the dimmer. Now for wiring up this plug, which is above the other plug, I'm going to be putting a GFCI in. It is a kitchen, so it needs a GFCI. On the top is line, bottom is load. So the line is where you're going to run your power, your hot wires to. and then load is going to be coming out of it, so that anything after this plug is all GFI'd. So let's connect that. Trim a little off of those. Your black wire goes to the gold, white wire goes to the silver. Now what I did in this box is I took both wires that were coming up, the hot wire that was coming in, and the wire that was going over to the switch, and I pigtailed them together with just like a 8 or 10 inch whip to go to this plug. That way the wire is running, the power is running directly to the switch and not running through the plug. So put those in there. And that's how that plug will be. I am going to run a wire out of the load into this next plug. This next plug isn't going to be a specific GFCI. It's still going to be GFCI'd through this one, but it's going to be one that has a USB and USB-C for charging phones.